Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Abstract Academy. And this is designed by Molly Johnson, Robert Melvin, Sean Stankiewicz, and the artist is Dan May. And it is published by Crafty Games and Flat Out Games. I said it all.
Have you ever wanted to become an artist, but you did not have the inspiration, or maybe perhaps the materials? Well, now you have a chance to create your own abstract works of art.
Why are you talking like that?
That's how people, like artist people talk, I'm pretty sure.
What?
People who like to make art, I think it's artists, painters.
Like in the 1920s?
They talk like this, and they play games like Abstract Academy. And so now, let me tell you how it plays. Alright, to start a game of Abstract Academy, every player is going to draw 3 cards. They're going to look something like this. Different various shapes and ways of doing these squares. Every card has 4 quadrants in it, but it contains one or more different areas. So this is all one blue area. This is a small little red area that consists of just one quadrant. So this is going to be our hand to start off with. We're also going to get some inspiration. This is a special ability or special scoring opportunity for us. This is private to just us. So we're trying to make these little these T shapes of all the same color if we can. We get 2 points at the end of the round if we're able to do that. Alright, so in the first round, what we're trying to do is create 3 different assignments. So we're going to have a red, a blue, and a yellow assignment. To save space, I'm just going to flip it over here. Alright, so we need the most amount of blue areas in our area. We need the most red areas with only 1 quadrant. So something like this would be great because there's just 1 red quadrant there. Then it says also most yellow areas with 4 or more quadrants. So big sections of yellows like this connected together, like that right there, is 4 yellows. That's perfect. So we're trying to kind of complete all of those. And whoever does the best is going to get those kinds of points, 3 per card. And we're basically going to randomly give out this Teacher's Pet card. The Teacher's Pet card is important because it's a tiebreaker for all those scoring opportunities. Every player is also going to get kind of a play reference here, which shows how the game is going to start, how it's going to be played, and then, again, some reminders about the rules and that kinds of things. Alright, so let's play a quick round here. Alright, so we might start the game off by doing that. Place that on the board there. Now the next player, and we draw a card to refresh our hand. The next player is going to be able to play off of that. It has to be oriented the same way. So if we played it, landscape style like that, they have to play their all cards landscape from now on as well. And it needs to be touching the card orthogonally. So it has to be either here, that kind of thing. So let's say they go there. We want the most blue areas in our section, so we're going to try to put some blues down below here, refresh our hand, and then our opponent will play. They're going for the reds with only 1 area, so they might do that. Once we have a situation where all 4 cards are played into an area, oh boy, let's do that one. Now that we have a 4 spot here, this is locked in place. We're ultimately making a 4x4 grid, so now we have our 4 tall. Now we have to kind of determine how it's going to look, sideways. But the way this is going to work is the 2 rows that are closest to us are going to be our scoring area. So now we know that these 2 are going to be in our scoring area, and these 2 are not. But we don't really know about the rest of it yet because it hasn't filled out all the way. We did manage to make a kind of a T shape on our inspiration card right here with that T shape. So we're going to be able to get that 2 points at the end of the round. So that's good. All right, so then we're also going to redraw like normal, and then we're going to play a card. Let's say the opponent did that. They're going for the most yellow areas with 4 or more quadrants. They've got a big yellow area there. I'm just going to kind of quickly fill this out just to kind of see what it looks like. So this is what our board might look like at the end of a round. So then we're going to go through all of our different scoring parameters and see who did the best. So it looks like, for instance, on this most yellow areas with 4 more quadrants, the other player is going to win. Their half of the board had more of those big yellow quadrants. As far as areas that only had 1 spot on them of red, we've got 1, 2, 3. They've also got 1, 2, 3. So then whoever is holding the Teacher's Pet is going to score that. They get that 3 points. But then they have to pass the Teacher's Pet to the other player. So let's say our opponent was able to do that. They were holding this at the time. They give it to us, and now we are in charge of the next tiebreaker that's going to happen. So then most blue areas. So we've got really a big area over here, so we don't really have a whole lot. They actually beat us there as well, so they're going to get 6, or basically all 9 points there. We're going to get the 2 points for making that, and obviously this is not how it would really play out. I would have played a little more strategically. I was just kind of putting cards out there, but that's how the first round is going to look. We also have these professor cards. These professor cards are kind of similar to these color cards, except for they are more generic. This one just says largest color area, and it's worth 5 points. So during the second round, what we're going to do is instead of using those color cards, we're going to choose the top 2 professor cards, and we're going to use those instead for our scoring parameters this round. And we're going to play another whole round just like before, using those 2 cards. And again, you're going to get another inspiration during the second round. And then you're going to score like normal. And then for the third round, what we're going to do is, again, we're still going to get an inspiration like normal, try to score that specific to ourselves, just for ourselves. But this time, instead of having it be just colors or just professors, what we're going to have is we're going to have one of the professor cards, and then any 2 of the color cards based off of whoever has the teacher's pet card. At the end of that third and final round, you're going to add up your points like normal, and then you're going to add all of your points together from the first, second, and third round. Whoever has the most amount of points is going to win the game. Ties are very common in this game, so that teacher's pet card is going to move around a ton. At the very end of the game, if there is still a tie, the player who claimed the most professor card wins. If there's still a tie after that, the player who is currently holding the teacher's pet card is going to be declared the winner. I just described the rules for a 2-player game, kind of showing here that there's the board's cut in half there. The top row being for the home row for the other player. The 2 closest to us are our players, our zone. But then in a 4-player game, it gets really crazy. All right, so you have basically a 5x5 grid now, and 2 rows for 2 closest rows to everybody is going to be what they score, and then everything around that you can kind of see is the home rows. So you're actually going to share some home rows in some scoring areas with the players to your left and right. So a 4-player game can get really crazy, but it's the same basic rules. You're trying to, in your own areas, get the most scoring opportunities wherever you can get them. And just like before, whoever has the most points wins the game.
I thought this game was pretty easy to learn. Granted, I didn't have to teach it, so you'll have to tell me if it was easy to teach. But, I mean, you just play a card, right? You just play it all in the same orientation, whether you play it vertically or horizontal. That's it. You just play a card, and then you try to get, like, the majorities or the not majorities or the squares or whatever. But it's just playing a card, and I thought that was so simple and so easy to learn.
Yeah, it was easy to teach. I mean, the rule book was just a few pages long, and even so, there wasn't much information on each page. It was just the next step in the learning process and the setup process, and it was very smooth to learn and to teach. This does play very, very quickly as a result of that easy rule set. It's the kind of game where we judge short games, how good they are, by how likely we are to play them back to back to back.
Yeah, yes.
If we play a short game, we're like, okay, next, then that's usually not a good sign. This was one of those games where we were ready to play it back to back because it was just so fast and so interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And it had this really interesting tiebreaker. I just thought this was so cool. So it has this teacher's pet card, and you just keep it in front of you, and then when a tie happens, because it does happen, ties happen a lot in this game, the teacher's pet breaks the tie. And what's really cool, especially in the 2-player game, is the teacher pet card immediately goes to the other player, right? And so then when you get a tiebreaker again for scoring purposes, then you get that card back. So I just thought it was a really simple and easy way to deal with ties that must have happened inevitably a lot in playtesting, but it was so good and so simple, and I really liked how we didn't have to keep looking at the rule book. There's a tie, teacher's pet, pass it on.
Exactly. I thought that the way the scoring happened was just really interesting. You were constantly on your toes about what was going to be the scoring parameters that particular round. Because you play 3 rounds in a game, and each round, the scoring parameters are different. So you're like, okay, so this round I'm going to focus on making this particular kind of shape. The next round, it's like a whole different kind of a thing you're going for. Different rows, columns, big areas, small areas, different colors that you're focusing on. It's always shifting. So I thought that was really fun how every round, every game, obviously, on top of that, is going to play very differently.
Especially when, you play the cards this way one round, and then you play it this way the other round.
Right.
And, it just messes you up on what you think is going to happen. I think, right, I do think sometimes. But what what I like in a game is a game that I feel like, what I think is great in a game is when a game I feel like can reach people who aren't in the hobby. And when we were playing this game, I thought of people. I had people come to mind that are not, they don't play hobby games that I thought would enjoy this game. And so I just like when a game, even if it wouldn't necessarily do that, the fact that I thought of these people and I'm like, you know what, this could work for them. I just love that a game can do that, can reach outside of, our little sphere of people. And so I always view that as a really good sign when a game is easy to learn, it's fast to play, and it has the potential to reach people outside of the hobby. And I feel like Abstract Academy does that.
I had one teeny tiny nitpick. It was the silliest thing. But I don't love the box. The boxes that have the flap that you have to open up, and there's two decks of cards that you have to kind of slide in there. I don't like that. I'm not a huge fan of that. But I get it from a price point standpoint. This is extremely affordable, and as a result, sometimes there's not the best materials or whatever it is. In this case, it's the most user-friendly box. I would prefer a box with a lid, maybe two separate halves and divided, but super tiny nitpick does not affect the gameplay whatsoever. I will say this plays fantastic at 2. It plays 4 players as well, and it's a slightly different arrangement. But I say 2 players, this game just really shines at 2. It's an area control game. It's got a little bit of a brain tickler, not a brain burner, but you have to think about your plays that you're making. Maybe you want to mess with the other player's area. Maybe you want to make your area score a little better. You have to react creatively to every single set of data that you're presented with. You're analyzing what's going to score the best for you, and it's just a lot of fun, and it just takes no time, no setup. This is a great game. We play this on our we have our day dates that we go on, where we play these 2-player games that have very minimal setup and area. This is a great one for those reasons. It's just so simple and it doesn't take up a lot of space.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching it. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos every Monday and Wednesday and every other Friday. Until then, you can find us on Facebook, we're Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany. And on Twitter, we are Ryan and Bethany 1.
You guys, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.